Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. As we speak, the National Investigating Agency is scouring through thousands of tourist videos from the Baisaran Valley, not just from the day of the terror strike, but also from days leading up to the attack. But there is one video, the one we are putting on your screens right away, that has become the focus for the NIA and the social media. Now, social media is more of a conspiracy theorist than Sherlock Holmes. But ladies and gentlemen, it is raising questions of a possible local link to the attack that left 26 tourists dead. Now, before I play out the video for you in its entirety, here is some context. And let's put that clean video on air for our viewers, please. It's a 53-second video. And it has been shot by a tourist from Gujarat on a selfie stick. It's on your screens, and we'll keep it on your screens for a bit. The man who's shooting this video is called Rishi Bhatt. He was in Baisaran with his wife and his son. Now, at first glance, this is the video of a tourist completely thrilled with his zipline ride. Nothing unusual, till you look closely at the ground below and realize that he has inadvertently captured the shootout in the valley. When you hear the audio, and I urge you to hear the audio as well when we play it for you, there are gunshots. Then you see people running on the ground down below him. One is slipping and falling. Another is already lying dead. But ladies and gentlemen, that is not the only reason why this video is going viral. The zipline operator, the man on your screens, a man called Muzammil, he's seen in the beginning of the video, is heard saying Allahu Akbar not once but thrice as a gunshot is heard in the background. Now, I'll put the video in a loop so you can have a good look at it.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, बैठो पैर लंबा करो Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, बैठो पैर लंबा करो
जब मैं जिप लाइन कर रहा था तब वो 3 बार अल्लाहू अकबर अल्लाहू अकबर अल्लाहू अकबर बोला और फिर उसने फिर फायरिंग हुई थी और हमारे आगे जो लोग गए हैं 9 लोग तब वो कुछ बोला नहीं था। उसने जिप लाइन करवाई तब कुछ नहीं बोला था। इवन मेरा लड़का और मेरी वाइफ भी जिप लाइन की तब भी वो कुछ नहीं बोला था। मैंने जब जिप लाइन की तब वो बोला था 3 बार और फिर तुरंत फायरिंग स्टार्ट हो गई थी। नीचे पहले मेरी वाइफ और मेरा लड़का पहुंचा, उसके पहले 2 फैमिली और गई थी। टोटल हम 3 फैमिली थे। जो 2 फैमिली नीचे गई थी ऑलरेडी उन लोगों को उनका रिलीजन पूछ के मेरे वाइफ के सामने 6 फुट के डिस्टेंस पे उन लोगों ने गोलियां मार दी थी। आपका रिलीजन पूछा और सीधा गोली मार दी। ऐसा मेरे आगे 2 फैमिली गई, वो दोनों फैमिली के साथ वही चीज हुई। मेरी वाइफ और मेरा लड़का वहां पे नीचे खड़े थे और मैं जिप लाइन में था तो शायद मैं बच गया। अगर मैं भी नीचे पहुंच गया होता तो वो लोग मेरे को भी गोली मार सकते थे।
Now, probably the zip line did save Rishi's life. But the question is the video on your screens proof of Muzammil's involvement or prior knowledge in the attack? Did he hear the gunshots? If yes, why did he send Rishi on his zipline ride? Was Allahu Akbar uttered for the second and third time in response to the gunshots? Well, the NIA has now taken Muzammil into custody for questioning for a second time. Reportedly, he has told the NIA that his chant was a natural reaction and that he has nothing to do with what happened. But he has been unable to explain why he sent Rishi down the zipline despite hearing the gunshot. Now, his family and the Grand Mufti of Jammu and Kashmir and even politicians in Kashmir say that Muzammil's Allahu Akbar invocation should not be and cannot be linked to any involvement with terrorists. The hunt for who, by the way, still continues.
सवाल लोग ये उठा रहे हैं कि अल्लाह अकबर क्यों बोला, तो इस पे क्या कहना चाहिए?
हम जब कोई तूफान भी आता है हम अल्लाह अकबर पढ़ता है। हम मुसलमान हैं। अगर कोई जलजला भी आएगा हम अल्लाह अकबर पढ़ता है। हम मुसलमान हैं। यही तो बात है।
जय श्री राम हो या अल्लाह अकबर हो, तो जब भी किसी को कोई मुश्किल काम आता है, कोई मुश्किल में होता है, तो वो अल्लाह ताला का नाम लेता है। तो हम मुसलमानों में अक्सर ये होता है कि जब हम कोई बोझ भी उठा रहे होते हैं या कहीं तकलीफ होती है तो हम अल्लाह अकबर बोलते हैं मुसीबत के वक्त में। तो ये कहना कि इन्होंने अल्लाह अकबर बोला और इस किस्म का इल्ज़ाम लगाना, मैं कहती हूँ ये जो भी आदमी है ये गठिया है, तो इसके ऊपर जितनी भी लानत भेज रहे हैं वो इस पर कम है।
Now, is there any merit in the suspicions being raised over the Allahu Akbar video, or is it just another conspiracy theory designed to find a local hand in the Pahalgam killings? Ladies and gentlemen, that is my question this evening. My guest, Lalit Ambardar, is an activist joining us on the broadcast. Arvind Kumar Jain is a former DGP joining us on the broadcast. Vimal Singh is a political analyst. Thank you very much. Tausif Shah is a senior leader of the PDP. Thank you very much. And Ahmed Ayaz is a political analyst joining us on the broadcast as well. I think I should go to Arvind Kumar Jain simply because I need to get his professional opinion on the video he's seeing. Mr. Arvind Kumar Jain, I have had a look. It's a 53-second video, and I have seen the video multiple times now, just to try and understand whether Muzammil actually knew what was happening on the ground before he pushes Rishi Bhatt onto the zip line. My question to you is, after having watched the video, what is your professional sense? Did he know? Did he not know? There's a good chance he didn't.
NIA has taken him into custody, and I think a very thorough investigation will be done, thorough inquiry will be done. There are 2-3 very baffling things regarding this video. Even I have seen it several times. One, this person, Rishi Bhatt, I don't know why he didn't hear the gunshots, and why was he so busy in shooting the event that he didn't even bother to look down when people are running, gunshots are being heard, number one. Number two, even I have my suspicion that there is some, he had inkling, this man Muzammil, that what was going on. Otherwise, he wouldn't have, because there was no, what was the need to say Allahu Akbar? Every time some person is going on a ride, he must not be chanting it. He chanted, I think, because action was going on down below by the terrorists. They were shooting people left and right. And that's why I think he recited Allahu Akbar 3 times. Because his father also said that whenever we are in trouble, whenever there is some emergency, whenever there is some untoward incident, then name of Allahu Akbar is chanted. So there has to be something, and I think I have full faith in the investigation of NIA, and NIA will be able to trace if he knew it, if he knew this was coming, or if he was in some way involved in the incident.
Did Muzammil knew of the trouble before it came? And by trouble, I mean the shootout that left 26 tourists dead. We do not know. The Indian National Investigative Agency right now, as we speak, is investigating the case, speaking to Muzammil as well. Tausif Shah, this is what I want to ask you. Look, I completely understand where people in the valley are coming from when they say that just like Jai Shri Ram, Allahu Akbar is not a war cry. I completely get that. But there are questions being raised over this video. For example, did Muzammil hear the gunshot or not? We don't know, because clearly Rishi didn't hear it and he was at the same height, right? So if Rishi didn't hear it, to some extent we can say, and Muzammil can say, I didn't hear the gunshot as well. But my point is that while Rishi was looking at the camera, filming himself and therefore distracted, Muzammil was not. He probably had a better sense of what was going on, below him and around him than Rishi. Now, my point is, if Muzammil heard the gunshots and twice he recites Allahu Akbar after that, why did he send Rishi on the ride? Simple question.
Very good evening to you, Shreya, and all the other panelists who are on the line. I would just like to justify the statement of Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar means God is great, a phrase billions of Muslims use daily in the moment of prayer or prayers. Saying it during a stressful moment does not imply guilty or any complicity. Judging someone based on the religious praise without fact is not justice, it's prejudice. We mourn the victims. We want answers, but we must not let fear blind us to the fairness. Truth matters more than the viral suspicion. Now, I would again like to back it. In very high stress or fearful moments, people often turn to faith. Maybe Christians might say, oh God, Hindus might say, Jai Shri Ram, Hey Ram, Jai Mata Di. Likewise, Muslims are saying Allahu Akbar. It's not emotional. It's an emotional and not a criminal response. Now, analyzing the video, we have also seen the video, I think more than 30, 40 times. We have seen that while the video starts, I have written down it. The 0.1 second.
देख लीजिए आपके स्क्रीन पे है तौसीफ साहब वीडियो.
No, timeline के हिसाब से बता रहा हूँ. On 0.1 second, when the video starts on 0.1 second, we can hear the gunshot. Since every Kashmiri, we have been hearing the gunshot since last 30, 35 years. So there's a sound coming to your ears, but you don't know where from it's coming. Is it any terrorist attack? Is it a normal firing drill or something like that? Yeah, एक normal सा पटाखा है. So maybe in the way he couldn't judge, so he chanted Allahu Akbar. Now, when he starts traveling, he is left from the zipline. He started his zipline ride at 0.11 seconds. From 0.11 seconds to 0.38 seconds, you can see the field below. No one is running. The running begins at 0.38 seconds. So it means that neither we can blame the tourist, like my honorable DGP said, that I don't know why he couldn't see below, why he didn't see. When we are on a height, we usually have our heads high. We don't look on the ground. It's just for 1 or 2 moments, we look down. So
Correct.
Normally, and he was busy making the videos. So once he looked down after 0.38 seconds, there he saw that people are running. He realized, now I would again like to back it, that if God forbid, we don't know, it's under the investigation. We don't know what would be the outcome of the investigation. Whatever would be the outcome of the investigation, it's accepted to us. But you need to realize, you need to see that if God forbid, this man was used as a bait, then he would have been, God forbid, may God give him the large and the longest life and the very happy life, then he would have been killed. He would have been targeted in the skyline itself. So we need to see that this Allahu Akbar is, Zalzala aayega, we chant Allahu Akbar. मैं आपको एक छोटी मिसाल देता हूं कि yesterday my car met a small accident and immediately without even my own knowledge some religious script came out of my mouth. So this can say it's a reflex.
But
it's a normal reflex.
Tausif Shah, I understand that. Nahin, I understand that. It's the normal reflex for Hindus is to say Hey Ram if we are in pain or if we see something that we shouldn't be saying. I understand that. I completely understand that. I'm again saying that not for a minute am I saying or believe that Allahu Akbar is a war chant, just like Jai Shri Ram or Hey Ram is not a war chant. ठीक है? Completely understood. I completely understand that. But there are being questions raised, and because there are being questions raised, I think we need to answer those questions. Now, one of the questions, I'll come back to Mr. Ayaz in just a bit. Now, one of the questions that is also being raised is, and this is being raised by the tourist himself, Ahmad Ayaz, that there were many people who went on this zipline before me, including my wife, including my child, everyone. The zipline guy, Muzammil, didn't utter Allahu Akbar before sending any one of them on the ride. Why is it only during my time did he decide to utter it? That too, 2 times after the first gunshot had been heard.
See, actually, the people on the ground would be in a position to better know about all this. But whatever we can assess from a distance is one that relating it simply to the Allahu Akbar, somebody chanted Allahu Akbar, and then in the meantime that incident took place, this this massacre took place there in Pahalgam, and relate to that, purely not. If you simply relate it with the Allahu Akbar, absolutely not, because that's in our daily life. Bismillah, Allahu Akbar, it's always there whenever we start something doing good, or God forbid there is some sort of catastrophe or something, we see some danger, we see some disaster, we immediately call it. The way all other friends said about that, it can happen with non-Muslims calling Jai Shri Ram, Hey Ram, it's a normal. Relating it to this very point may not be fair, only to this point. Subject to, of course, the verifications and the investigations. But if we say that somebody has chanted Allahu Akbar just because he must have been knowing it or he must have been part of it, does not look to be, because it has a different story. However, again, subject to investigation. Right. And then another point raised is, one is that had that person known it in advance, either he would not have been there personally, or he would have also moved along with. We see the video, I have seen the video now, we see him standing there only. He is not seen moving. Possibly when the gunshots were heard, he could assess the situation, and then maybe he has said Allahu Akbar or whatever chanted. I think it could be possibly in that context, and may not that he knew it in advance. Possibly then he would have tried to go a safer place, or if he could hear the gunshot, why the person on zipline could not hear it about, and how it could be both. And second, so had he known it, what was the point of sending? Had he known this in advance?
Correct. That is exactly the point I'm making. No, sir, that is exactly the point I'm making. Again, I am not the judge, jury, investigator here. I have not spoken to Muzammil. I am not an eyewitness. I am not the NIA. So I am not here to decide whether Muzammil is part of the terrorist group that opened fire in Pahalgam and killed 26 people or not. For all you know, he is completely innocent. My simple point is that there are suspicions being raised, and the suspicion also being raised is that he has, first of all, he did run away. He did flee once he heard more gunshots and saw people dying, because that is because his family has said as much to media channels. But the point is that he did hear, he says Allahu Akbar, there's a gunshot fired, he hears it, and then he says Allahu Akbar twice again, and then pushes Rishi to the zipline ride. My point is, if he had already heard the gunshot, why is it that you are pushing a tourist to the ride? That is a question that needs to be answered, and he has not been able to answer that question. Maybe he didn't realize it was a gunshot, because in Pahalgam, you've never had gunshots ringing. So that is completely acceptable. I can accept that. But this is Kashmir Valley. सबने गनशॉट सुने हैं. Maybe Muzammil didn't realize it was a gunshot. Who knows? But Lalit Ambardar, would you want to then come in here? Is this then nothing more than a conspiracy theory that is being pushed by social media and one eyewitness / tourist who shot this video?
Look, this is a very unfortunate incident. We are discussing somebody's emotions. It could be negative, it could be possible. But why are we discussing it altogether? Can you imagine, from childhood in Kashmir, whenever we have seen the mobs, Islamist mobs on the streets, we have only heard Nara Takbir Allahu Akbar. We also seen the visuals, if you recall the visuals of when Hamas and Islamic Jihad of Palestine invaded Israel, when they were parading around that Shani, the girl, Israel, French, German citizen, semi-naked, raped girl, semi-conscious girl. They were raping through, they were marching her body, parading her body through Gaza. They were all shouting Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. All people who they were either spitting on her or trying to touch her, and they were raising slogans Allahu Akbar. Everybody has seen it. So in that context, we are talking about it. But about this guy, if he has not heard it, can you imagine? You talked about he had a full view. The actual photographic and technical expression would be he had a whole panoramic view of the theater that was happening all in front of him. And he was seeing people who are, well, this guy realized on the 38th second, this guy was seen from the second one, when the first shot was fired. And that first shot wasn't fired in air. It was fired at some Hindu somewhere, right? And he must have certainly fallen on the ground right in front of him. So I take it that way. Everybody is trying to be, trying to defend him. And Kashmir is known for collaborators. In fact, 50% of these jihadis who have attacked in Pahalgam are supposed to be local Kashmiri Muslims. And Kashmiri Muslims have collaborated either directly or through chosen silence in the genocide of Kashmiri Hindus. It's not surprising if he's involved. I hope and pray that he is an innocent. But it would not be shocking. I will not be shocked that he is not participating. And normally it is Allahu Akbar is a war cry. No, that you and me know. I'm not a Muslim. I don't know that. But what I've heard about it, what I've seen, whenever Allahu Akbar is recited, it's always a jihadi attack.
Okay. Tausif Shah, since you represent the PDP on this show, a political dispensation in Kashmir, I want you to respond to what Lalit is saying. Lalit is making a larger point that the needle of suspicion is going to Muzammil simply because terrorism in the Kashmir Valley has managed to survive and thrive because it has local support. In this case as well, we know that if there were 2 Pakistani terrorists who were involved, including a para commando from the special forces in Pakistan, then there were 2 local terrorists who were involved as well, right? We know that there are local terrorists who were involved in this attack as well. Then you have been in the valley, and I have not been in the valley for very long. I've reported from there briefly, but you know and I know that before every terror attack, there are local guides who do scouting for terrorists to hide before the attack and then to hide after they run, post the attack, right? They look for safe hideouts. So these are local guides who help the terrorists, I beg your pardon. My point is, if questions are being raised about local support after seeing this video, there is some basis to those questions. It is not all in the air. It is not necessarily to push a Hindu-Muslim India versus Kashmir narrative.
Look, Shreya, I'd like to reply to Mr. Lalit Ambardar. Very respectfully, I'd like to reply him that on the national media, he should not speak like the words that all Kashmiris are collaborators. Then he is going against his own government. The government has said that there are only 5% people who support militancy. So how does he say sorry to the 95% people? Now, maybe his government might be wrong. They might be lying. Like the way he's smiling, they might be lying. He knows better. He knows better because we have government figures, and we have Lalit Ambardar figures. So now we have to see that which way is more and which way is like. Now let me tell you, Mr. Lalit Ambardar
just a minute.
Now let me tell you that Mr.
Let's keep this debate civilized, because what has happened in Kashmir is very somber. We need to deal with it with a certain degree of
his gene. He cannot change it.
Please
it's a
make your
genetic
point. I have to
disorder
go to
within.
Vimal Singh
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. I like to say that, like Mr. Lalit Ambardar said, that on 0.38 second, a fire came and a Hindu was killed. Why did he not say that on 0.38 second, maybe that was a Muslim Pani wala who was killed? Because he wants to create a Hindu-Muslim divide. He has a narrative to create a Hindu-Muslim divide, which we are trying to save, we have shown it. It's on the record. Let me please, through your aapki channel ki wasadat se, I'd like to say to the whole nation that the day we observed the strike, normally the JK Bank has, now I have been narrating it many times. Once again, I'm narrating it. The JK Bank has normally 130,000 transactions a day, while on the day of strike, which we observed against the killings for our Hindu brothers, for our Muslim brothers who were killed, the JK Bank transactions were only 430 transactions a day. That means every school, every business establishment, everybody has really shown the solidarity and went to a strike for our Hindu and Muslim brothers.
Okay.
There are mostly Hindu brothers who were killed. There were small children, I can say. They had come to share some memories here, but we are very sorry that they had to go back in the coffin. We are very sorry for that. But now coming back to Muzammil, when the video starts, a gunshot is heard. Immediately, the beginning of the video, the gunshot sound is heard. And that's a gunshot because we have been hearing these shots since last 35 years. The tourist might not have realized it because he is not accustomed to these shots or these sounds. But now we cannot say he is not the person who was putting him on the zip line. He is not a superhuman. He did not know where the attack is going or where the attack is coming. So you have to realize this. Please don't make a divide on Hindu-Muslim. We have already seen that our school children, our college going. Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. Okay, I don't have too much time on the show. Can I just get in Vimal Singh as well? See, if you look at the end of the video, and I'll just urge my producer to put the video back on screen again. If you look at the end of the video, you see that once, the tourist has been pushed to the zip line, Muzammil, who is the local operator, the zip line operator, can we just put that video on, please? He actually casually just looks back as if he's just done his job and things have gone fine. If he had seen and heard much more, if he had seen people being killed or more gunshots, if he had heard more gunshots, the natural reaction for anyone would have been to run, Vimal Singh. He didn't. In that moment, he didn't. Of course, later on when the carnage became very clear, he did run for his life, almost like everyone ran for their lives. Plus, this is a guy, logically I'm thinking, this is a guy whose rosy roti depends on the zip line and depends on Baisaran. Does it help him at all to collaborate with terrorists who are ensuring that his livelihood is stabbed to death? Logically thinking. But Vimal Singh, the point is that, while we are debating Muzammil on the basis of what one tourist and one video is saying, we have not spoken so much about Syed Adil Hussain, who is the pony handler who was killed while snatching away the rifle of a terrorist. He tried saving his guest, right? So there are both sides to the story. I want to ask you whether somehow we are pushing Pakistan's agenda of making this a Hindu-Muslim issue to drive a Hindu-Muslim communal wedge, not just in Kashmir, but across the country. देखिए ये communal killing थी. We can't deny it, right? Hindus were killed.
Yes,
Their
yes,
identities
yes.
were asked. वो तो था ही. But are we playing into Pakistan's agenda?
Actually, Shreya, one thing very important about this particular episode, it doesn't matter. Muzammil is the only one witness about this, and he is chanting that slogan. But he is there for his bread butter. He is doing that zip service there, and when you are living in that area which is suffering from terrorism from more than 30 years, Kashmir is in that turmoil process. So when you are there and you are looking for your bread and butter, everyone is not there associated with all these separatists or all these terrorists. But one thing about Muzammil, I just wanted to make it very clear. He, out of fear, not only he was because these people are also to some extent they are familiar to all these types of people also, because they are living there from so many years from their childhood, and they are observing their faces and everything. But they were, I can clearly in one line I can say ki they were not they were not involved at all. We can't put that line ki that he is Muslim, that's why he's chanting Allahu Akbar and he's giving signal was not the issue was that why he chanted Allahu Akbar, because he wanted that I am doing my service, I have done. He's on that track, Mr. Rishi Bhatt. He's on this track, and I'm free from this. And he's little bit afraid of that moment also. But you can't say on that particular issue that he's totally associated with and he's totally aware of that. But he was not aware. He was aware with that sound, that bullet sound, and they are living in that area where they are hearing all these sounds and everything. So that was the reason, just to save his bread and butter, and just to be very carelessly, he is just leaving things and going back, because he's thinking I have done my job and this is the scene, and he's just leaving that. So on that basis, you can't put, nobody can say directly. Even then, NIA is also doing his job, and I will definitely will conclude the right thing about what was his intention behind that. And then definitely it will come out that he was just doing his job, and they are definitely familiar with the people in that area because they know how to hide them and everything. Just Riya.
Okay, we leave it there for the moment. Thank you very much. I'm going to thank Lalit Ambardar, Arvind Kumar Jain, Vimal Singh, Tausif Shah, and Ahmad Ayaz for joining us this evening. Thank you very much. We've heard from all sides.